เดี๋ยวผมคงจะต้องพูดเป็นภาษาอังกฤษหลังจากนี้ตรงข้ามกับคุณตะวันนะครับเดี๋ยวผมจะใช้ค่อนข้างแบบโบราณเป็น primitive and traditional explanation กึ่ง shock and talk ซึ่งพวกเราหลายคนก็คงจะคุ้นเคยขออนุญาตพูดอย่างกระชับเป็นภาษาอังกฤษหลังจากนี้นะครับ Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this seminar on Excellence English Program Management. I wish to thank Dr. Tawan Tewakson and Akson Education for bringing us all together, and I'm sure much fruitful discussion will take place and we will leave here at the end of the day with the useful information, creative ideas and strategies to implement innovation and adaptation to the way we do things now. It is an honor to stand before you as one among an august and honorable community of executives and managers, all dedicated to enhancing the opportunities for our students to reach level of educational and language advancement beyond what has been achieved already. And much has been achieved since Sarasat Ektra was licensed as the first fully bilingual school in 1995. There has been a massive growth in bilingual education in Thailand at all levels, from kindergarten to higher education, and across the sectors, government, private, and municipal. I refer to the widespread growth of bilingual education. I acknowledge that for many schools that is referred to as EP or English program, and that is the preferred terminology of Ministry of Education. The Association of Private Schools refers to itself as private school for English program. Not the most elegant and translations, but we all know what it means. Indeed, we have the term English program rather than bilingual education, because bilingual education takes so many forms that two people using the same term could be talking about quite different models. Mother tongue maintenance, transitional bilingual education, immersion, two-way bilingual teaching, parallel immersion, mother tongue plus EAP, Creole, and so on. However, at my school, we still use the term bilingual education to refer to our model, parallel immersion, as we believe it encapsulates our dual and equal objectives to send graduates into the world who are equally well educated in both Thai and English. These are not easy objectives to attain, but we have had enough success that we have not deviated from them. Most of our students leave our schools and enter Thai universities. There, they will prepare themselves for entry into the Thai world of business and the professions. They need to have the skills and attributes necessary to succeed to the Thai mirror. After graduating, many may go abroad for further study in an English-speaking environment, where they will advance their proficiency in English and experience the invaluable cultural challenges and benefits from immersion in an English-speaking milieu. From this experience and their education and life experience to date, they will be qualified and able to engage in international and global enterprise, communication, and relationships. That is our dream, that our graduates will be fully Thai and fully global citizens, able and confident and willing to participate in the economic development and cultural enrichment of their country, Thailand, and the world beyond, be it in the region or wider. And that, I would hope, is a dream of all of us here. By whatever means and models we use to bring our students to that point where productive and constructive Thai citizenship goes hand in hand with a global citizenship that encourages both prosperity and harmony among peoples of the region and the world. Why aim for anything else? Thai students have shown that given the opportunity and the encouragement, they can achieve great things. Let's give them that opportunity and encouragement. So, considering our goals and as administrator of Bilingual and EP program, what is our image of the ideal end product of bilingual education, whatever form it takes? The Polish-Australian sociologist Jerzy Smolik once described his ideal graduate as one who has integrated bilingual and bicultural identity, which is person who within himself or herself is fully bilingual and fully bicultural. And of course, Professor Smolik was writing about a multicultural society with large immigrant population that brought its own languages to add to the mix of English and other languages already spoken in the community. At that time, early 90 and in 1980s, there were many young people who were the children of the immigrants, educated in Australia and proficiency in both the language of their family and the dominant language outside the home, which is English. In addition, these young people were culturally at ease in both their parents' culture and that of their peers in the Anglophone mainstream. Smolik thought this was what everyone should aspire to, not just bilingual and bicultural second-generation immigrants. He wanted to see native English speakers become proficient and in another language and comfortable participating in other culture as well. However, this goal has been achieved to only a limited extent in the mainstream population in Australia because of the dominance in English in Australia. But is integrated bilingualism and biculturalism possible on a wide scale in Thailand? And if not, widely and deeply possible, to what extent it is attainable, under what conditions and for what kinds of students? This might be question you would like to consider today and from now on, or at least have in mind in the course of your discussion today. Can the EP model bring students to a level at which they are both comfortable and competent in Thai and in English languages and culture, able to take their places in Thai professionals, commercial and social settings, as well as participating productively in non-Thai settings as well? There has been considerable success. National and regional data collected over the past 2 decades have shown consistently that students in EP and in bilingual school outperform students in Thai medium school, not only in English, but across the other tested subjects as well, even Thai language. This is what one would expect from our knowledge of the research on outcomes of child bilingualism and of authentic and well-managed bilingual education programs around the world. Nevertheless, there is no justification to be complacent or triumphant. Data has at times shown that superiority in Thai language test has been slight, and one has to consider other advantaging factors, which is better off, better economic surroundings, better educated, better read parents in the EP and bilingual programs. There is always a need to monitor our efforts so that the main advantaging factor is the bilingual education that students get rather than these other influences important as they no doubt will always be. That would be a question I put to you. How do we know that? Is the kind and quality of education our students get that really makes the difference? Quality assurance must be important and ongoing. The way we do things and their effectiveness must be kept in mind always, as well as our goals and purposes for providing bilingual education. Of course, in speaking of ideal and objectives, we have to be practical in other ways as well. And many questions need to be considered. Some of these may be as follows. How many hours a week, how many years do we need to bring a cohort and non-English speaking students up to the average ability level of a comparable native English speaking cohort? Based on various data available at the time, our school estimated that at least 11 years of bilingual education based on about 55 of English to Thai medium instruction would be required. Certainly, when students in year 7, 8, and 9 were trialed for the ICAS test in English and math in early 2012. ICAS stands for International Competition and Assessment for School, mostly used in Commonwealth nations such as Australia, New Zealand, or those English colonized countries. The year 7 and 8 classes were well below the equivalent Australian year level, but one year 9 class was close to it. What can we do to accelerate the progress of rapid learners of English? What can we do to assist slow learners of English? Should English or other English medium classes be mixed ability or ability-based classes? How do we ensure a good balance of spoken and written, productive and receptive English speaks over the years? Another question of central importance to the teaching of English in Thailand is, who will teach it? As director and administrator of EP and Bilingual, we all face this question and have all taken decisions that will preserve the quality of the English to be taught our students at a cost that is within reach of as many families as possible. Being Thai school serving Thai family, we don't have the option, much option available to international schools who can charge quite high fees and employ high quality native speakers, speaking teachers on very expensive packages. We want our students to be taught a good standard of English, grammatically correct, by teachers with acceptable pronunciation, allowing for accent variation, of course, correct spelling and grammar on the whiteboard, acceptable handwriting, and able to discern and correct errors in students' work, as well as the ability to teach in an effective way. These things should ideally be taken for granted in a teacher of English. In fact, we know that it doesn't always happen. Even native speakers make some mistakes sometimes. But they should be few and far in between. However, observation shows that there are some who make too many mistakes. What do we do if these teachers are liked by the students? Students like them. They manage the class well and are good employees. I leave this question to you. Then we have the Filipinos, and many Filipinos now are here. Be positive, and we give a good credit on you. One, on the face of it, in the age of Asian, Filipinos and Singaporeans are the logical English mentors for their Asian partners. However, Singaporeans usually make too much money at home to be attracted to English teaching in Thailand. There are some, especially young people, wanted a Thai cultural experience, but not many. Thailand is, though, an attractive place for young Filipinos who would like to teach English, and many of them are qualified teachers. They are generally cooperative and loyal employees, able to teach, and with a level of fluency in English that means they can teach in this language. In my school, they are mainly employed to teach science, math, social study, and English. Sometimes physical education as well. Only a small minority teach English as a subject. Why is this? Because so many Filipinos, though fluent in speaking the language, at the same time make a lot of mistakes in writing it. And this can be obvious if they are not careful. In the whiteboard writing and in the test they set, so many Filipinos generally do very good job, but they are, with some exception, not always the best model for writing or written English. Some also have very strong accent with non-standard pronunciation. How about Thai teachers? And Thai teachers of English. Some are very good, but might find teaching subject content through English very challenging, and providing a native-like speaking model would be difficult to many. In any case, very good Thai speaker of English can find high-paying jobs outside the teaching professions. Over time, especially if the Thai government can fund and support more intensive English language training for teachers, including some target language in-country experience for some, more Thai teachers with acceptable English teaching ability will be more available. Eventually, thereby a critical mass may be reached when those teachers can train others, and the pool of acceptable Thai teachers will be larger. So it looks like we need a balance of good native speakers, good near native speakers, such as continental European and Filipinos, and where possible, Thai speaker of high quality of English. What that balance should be for now, I also leave this with you. Finally, let me very briefly raise a question that I think we've all discussed to some extent, and this is relevant to Kun Tawan mention of rise of the robot just a moment ago. How will technology impact on the way in which people learn a language? English in our case in the near future. There is much on the web, on the internet about this. And some people believe that the variety of ways in which learners will be able to access the access of English teaching will make what is done now in English language school outmoded. Chơi, technology, teacher. However, will these more individualized instructional platforms impact on primary and secondary school provision? After all, children will still need to be located together under supervision for several hours each day, one day. And they will need to be interactive. They need to interact with each other in the language of instruction in order to use it authentically and thereby learn it by using it in the field, in the playground, in the classroom, or even in the toilet. Let me refer to you to some very short article in the website. They look ahead to a formal language learning scenario in 2034, in which a student of English pay a relatively small amount for a maximally efficient medium and method of instruction. It means you pay through your credit card or whatsoever to learn English from the internet without human instruction needed, where she can decide to have her work assessed either by human intervention or solely by the computer. Of course, there is a price difference. This short piece and the follow-up to the critical comments it received discuss possible scenario for a post-school age student, though with some references directly to schools. But the question must be asked, are technology-based approaches and strategy going to impact greatly on EP and bilingual program in schools? That is, in regard to different ways of teaching and learning, while the students are in our care for those 8 or so hours a day. Are we planning for technological alternatives? What are the costs and will the impact on parents' ability to pay? A few years ago, I visited with some staff members to Nanyang Girls' School in Singapore, and I learned about the school-wide use of iPad by the student in a number of subjects. I'm sure that experience had led them to make further progress in optimizing the use of handheld technology in delivering the curriculum. It may be worth your while checking the internet to see what this school has done and is now doing. But Thai kids are device savvy. So, do we need to be sure that the skills they have are utilized in their learning, especially in English, but not only English? In speak to you today, I've tried to say a little about my own experience and that of the school I manage, and something of my vision of the ideal end product of EP and bilingual education programs, as well as raise some questions for your consideration and discussion if you feel they merit it. As I said earlier, it is an honor to speak to you, and I thank the organizers, Kun Tawan, of this most valuable seminar. I wish each and every one of us here success in what we do to raise the level of English language proficiency of our students, as well as the quality of education that they experience in the Thai village. We wish, after all, that our students be strong in both languages and the cultures in which they are embodied. Thank you very much for your attention. ขอบคุณมากๆครับ